I'll go ahead and get started here. So thank you all for joining us for this session, Meet the Customer Love Team. My name is Kelsey Wiest. I'm a member of our Strategic Solutions and Learning Management team. Before we jump into an overview of our Customer Love team, I'd like to introduce you to the members of our content team who are going to be leading this discussion. So I'm excited to introduce Laura Brown, who is our Content Support and Solutions Manager, and Sarah Allen, our Custom Product Specialist. They'll be leading an overview and are excited to share more information about this designated team at Hawks that works closely with our users to help ensure our products continue to meet your needs. So before I hand things over, just one quick reminder again that if you have any questions throughout the sessions, please feel free to chat those in the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to answer those at the end of the presentation. And then again, we're giving away 3 Amazon gift cards at the end of this session. So take a moment to fill out that survey and it will get you entered in, and we'll do the raffle at the end of the session. So with that, I'll pass things over to Laura and Sarah.
Great. Thanks so much, Kelsey. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. I just want to reiterate what Kelsey said about certainly wanting to hear from you all. So please do add stuff to the chat that we'd be happy to cover at the end of our presentation. As Kelsey said, my name is Laura Brown. I'm the manager of our Content Support and Solutions team. And one of the biggest focuses on that team that actually I enjoy the most is really connecting with instructors like yourself to learn about what's going on with what's working with your Hawks courses, what ideas you have for improvements, or for enhancements, and how we can kind of meet those needs. And that's really the philosophy behind what we call our customer love team that Sarah will talk about in a little more detail in just a moment. But really the idea with this team is that, we work alongside you to really kind of individualize your Hawks curriculum. And that's all about ways to better meet your individual classroom needs. So we're happy to answer questions, like I said, at the end and hear your ideas. But with that said, I'll turn it over to Sarah, who really leads this charge for our company.
Thanks, Laura. Good morning, everyone. As Laura mentioned, my name is Sarah Allen, and I am a custom product specialist here at Hawks. Before I get started, I want to ask your patience and forgiveness for 2 things. The first is, if you can't tell already, I'm using an automatic transcriber, and it likes to transcribe the word Hawks like the bird instead of Hawks like the company name. So if you're reading along, please just forgive me for that. I promise this is not me typing the words I'm saying. This is an automatic feature from PowerPoint. And then second, also ask your forgiveness. My camera is above my monitor and my slides are obviously below. So I apologize, I'm not looking at you while I'm giving this presentation. And actually I can't even see your faces. So this might feel a little strange. It certainly does for me. But I ask your forgiveness and patience with technology as it is today. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to give you an idea today of how Hawks has the ability to help you create custom content for your students. That is the entire goal of my presentation. Many of you are familiar with the question builder tool that we have, but we know that you're busier than ever with instruction. We know that this pandemic, goodness gracious, what has it done for our lives and how you teach? So we wanted to give you the knowledge of what Hawks can do for you and how we can help. This is a service, as Laura mentioned, that is internal to Hawks. We have a team dedicated to providing this content to you. Customer Love works with people all across the Hawks company. So from developers to math content teams to educational courseware representatives. We really value your input and your feedback, and we take everything you give us to try to make the products better for you. Today, I'm just going to walk you through a little bit about, a little bit about what and who is Customer Love. So a little bit about me and a little bit about the team. We're also going to talk about the ways in which Customer Love receives your input. There are 3 main methods, and I'll do a brief overview of each one. Then I'd like to walk you through our question creation process and how we provide you the custom content that you request. I'll also go through the standards we set at Hawks to provide this material to you so you can feel confident that what you're receiving is of the highest quality. I'll discuss some of the ways the feedback we've received from you all has helped to improve our global products at large. And lastly, I'll discuss the main ways Customer Love is ready to help you all as instructors. And then I'll try to answer any questions you may have. I do encourage you to please use the chat and the Q&A feature. We put them in at any time during this presentation, and we will get to them at the end as possible. I will mention, Kelsey, if there are any questions that pop up that you think are relevant, please feel free to interrupt me during this presentation. All right, so let's get started. So what and who is Customer Love? It's kind of an interesting name, but it's a team of individuals here at Hawks committed to providing you with the custom content that you request. Again, that's the entire goal of my presentation. It's our commitment in action. We are custom product specialists. We receive input throughout the company, and we use those requests to provide custom content back to you, our instructors. The team currently is myself, Sarah, that's a picture of me, although I don't know if I look like that. But, and then there's Thomas, and then Laura, obviously, who is our manager. Just to give you a little bit of a background about me, I have a bachelor's degree in engineering, and I minored in user design. I also have a master's in math education, and then I used that degree to teach developmental algebra for 3 years. So I love working here at Hawks because I get to use all of the tools in my arsenal. And plus, I love working with instructors and solving problems. That's what an engineer does. So the Customer Love role is really perfect for me. The Customer Love team receives your input, as I mentioned earlier, through 3 main methods. The first way is through a feature requests. These are common tools used in the software industry to keep track of requests from customers. Feature requests can be created by any of your educational courseware specialists, including technical support and the like. They can even be created internally from our own Hawks team members if our industry research suggests a new feature is needed. This is the primary and the most preferred way of sending a request to Hawks. We also receive input from you through our technical support requests. If you've ever called Hawks and had a technical problem that needed to be resolved, those requests also are received and reviewed internally. And lastly, we sometimes will receive emails directly from your school's Hawks representative, depending on the nature of the request. So all of this input is received and reviewed by our Customer Love team. So then the question, of course, is what do we do with it? So we've gotten your feedback and we've gotten your requests. So what do we do with it? I'm going to walk you through very quickly the process we use to create or provide custom questions back to you. It's a pretty straightforward process, as you can see here on the screen. It's got 4 major stages, but I want to talk to you about the details in each stage. The first thing that happens is we get your request, as I just mentioned. We then review the request, and we will gather any additional information we think we may need to make sure that we create what you like. We then prioritize that request, and we author some acceptance criteria based on the information provided. We then create the question in the Hawks Question Builder tool. Many of you are familiar with this tool already, and if not, we have videos and training documentation we can provide to you after this webinar. With each question, Hawks creates 30 to 50 iterations. We have specific explain errors written for when students input a wrong solution, and we have step-by-step solutions written as well to ensure students have the assistance they need. We then rigorously test the custom questions through the instructor portal. So what you all see in web tests and when you're assigning to a specific lesson. We also test the question in our student portal, making sure that not only is the math accurate, but also the functionality that the student uses. We then test our questions to meet our accessibility standards. And for those of you who like to print tests still, we also test our questions for print and export functionality to confirm the question looks the same on your screen as it does in a PDF or a Word printout. Once all of that testing is complete and the acceptance criteria has been met, we then share the custom questions you requested back to you through your Question Builder folder. And depending on the advice of our content teams, we may also include these questions in our global products at large so that all of our users can use this content. There have been some fantastic examples of your feedback that have really helped to improve Hawk's global products. I'm going to give you just 4 quick examples here of how we've used your requests. The first, George Mason University teaches a Viewing Life Mathematically course, uses our product Viewing Life Mathematically in their course, and really had a heavy focus on statistics and wanted some additional statistics questions added to a certain chapter and lesson. And after reviewing that request, we decided those questions would be beneficial to all of our users who use Viewing Life Mathematically. So we were able to add those additional questions there for that lesson. We also, the University of New Haven gave us some great feedback on our Pathways to College Mathematics product. We added 2 additional appendix lessons for that product, logarithmic functions and applications of exponential and logarithmic functions. Ole Miss gave some great feedback on our MABS title, M-A-B-S, Mathematics with Applications in Business and Social Sciences. We added nearly 60 questions, bringing all of the lessons in that product to a minimum of 10 questions each. And then lastly, Fletcher Technical Community College also had some great feedback on our beginning statistics product, and they asked for 6 additional questions in our normal distribution lesson for that product. So again, all of these are examples of feedback or feature requests that have come in that we were able to use to improve the global products at large. And we're very grateful for you. So I want to talk really about the heart of the presentation here, which is what can customer love do for you? Like when you hear these words and when you hear this team, the name of this team, what should you be thinking? There are 2 main buckets, if you will, or tasks that we can help you with. The first is what we've been talking about for most of this presentation, which is custom question creation. Let's say maybe you have an exam that you've used for years, and you have some questions on there that you're currently unable to find in your question builder folder or in the software you use from Hawks. That is something that we can create for you, sending your PDF of your exam to your courseware representative and saying, hey, could you please create, question number 5 and question number 7 off of this exam? I'd like to use it. That's definitely something customer love can do. We also can recreate questions from the textbook. So again, if you're using the textbook or flipping through and you say, I don't see a question quite like this in the software, definitely send that to your courseware representative. If we don't have it, we can create it and share it with you so you can use it. And then lastly, every now and then you might have a course that's heavily focused on one particular area, like for instance, the George Mason University request where they were using Viewing Life Mathematically, but they needed additional statistics questions. If that's the case for you and your course where you might have some specific course requirements that need to be met, please send those course requirements to your representative. That can come to the customer love team and we can share those custom questions with you so you can have what you need. So that's kind of the first bucket, is in terms of questions and question bank, things that you might need to assess your students on. The second is really custom content. So this is the learn screens that your students will use. We have the ability to customize the instructional content through learn screen editing. And actually you do as well, but we are more than happy to help you do it. This is, let's say maybe you have a lesson from one product that you really like, but you don't need the whole product, you just need that one lesson. Again, because of some specific course requirement, we are able to kind of trade out those learn screens for you and give you additional question bank assessment questions to match those learn screens. So you're stuck, if you will, with any out-of-the-box Hawks product. This is really, the customer love team is all about customization and making sure that you have what you need to meet your course requirements. So I know that was a lot of information thrown at you, and I apologize, I can't see your faces, so I'm hoping this was informative. I should also mention that one of the questions I've gotten in the past is whether or not this service costs anything. It doesn't. It's free, I guess. You could say that it's included with your Hawks membership. But it's something that we do internally here at Hawks to make sure that we can provide you with what you need for your course. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them now. And Kelsey, I'll request your help on this. But if not, if you really want to think over it and you might have some individual questions, or maybe you just like to talk with me face to face, I'll be in the booth after this for probably half an hour or so to kind of talk through any custom requests you might have and see what we can do for you. So thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. And thank you for everyone who's attended so far. Before we dive into, we do have one question that I'm going to share with y'all in just a second. But before we dive in, immediately following our Q&A period, I'll be doing the spin and win. So if you haven't yet filled out the form to get you entered into that chance to win one of 3 Amazon gift cards, please go ahead and fill that out now so that I can get you entered into the prize. So we did have a question come through. Jane's wondering, when you add new or additional questions, do you then also mark them as easy, medium, or hard? So do you categorize them as far as difficulty level?
Yeah, fantastic. So the answer to that is yes. If it's a specifically custom question, Jane, like maybe from a PDF from an exam that you use, then we would probably ask you what you think that the difficulty level should be. We normally put them just at a medium level because they are custom questions, but that's also easily changeable. In general, if we share questions across products, they come with a difficulty level from their, what we call the source product or the original product. So again, if you were to add some statistics questions, they would come with the difficulty level from our statistics product. That was a good question, actually. All right.
Any others from folks attending that you're curious about? Any thoughts that you've had of custom content that you've wanted in the past? Just feel free to chat those in. We give it just another minute here. And then just as a reminder, while we're waiting for any additional questions to come through, like Sarah said, she's graciously donated some additional time. And if you did have a more specific request that you might want to talk through with her personally and have some FaceTime with Sarah, because this is a really great opportunity to meet with somebody on our content team directly, she's going to be going back to our virtual booth for 30 minutes following this presentation. And if you do have interest in speaking with her, just jump back to the booth. I'll add the link here at the end of the presentation, and we can get you linked up with her so you can chat with her directly for a few minutes. We did have a couple additional questions come through. One question about printing the test and numbers not being on the line graph when tests are printed. I'd be curious to know if this is using print or export or both. And if that, I don't know, Sarah, if you have any familiarity with this and if it potentially is something that we could investigate and potentially fix as a bug.
For sure. To my knowledge, it's possible to have available. The fact that it might not be showing up could be a setting, depending, like you mentioned, on either print or export. Export then print, Elizabeth, I see that, thank you. So it's for sure a possibility. And I would ask Elizabeth, whoever your courseware representative is, if you could maybe take a screenshot and send that to them. Yeah. That could definitely come through me and Thomas. The two of us can kind of work to triage that issue for you. So fantastic question. And also thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for bringing that up to us. And I'll make a note, Elizabeth, that this is happening. And I'll personally connect with your training and support representative as well to have them reach out to you so that we can get a little bit more information. We did have one other question come through. Do you create custom content for topics not currently in other products? For example, turnkey Kramer procedure added to business statistics.
Yeah, great question. So this is this is a perfect example of some custom question content that you would like to have created. And Kathleen, if you have examples of kind of the type of question you'd like to see, definitely something we can do. So send it over again through your courseware representative. They'll create that feature request and we'll work through prioritizing it and getting it made for you. this is a good example of something that might be specific for your course that we might not need to add to our global products, but we can definitely provide back to you. So yes, fantastic question. These are great. Thank you all for your participation. These are wonderful questions.
Yeah, we appreciate that. It's always helpful to know what you need from us. So these are a great help for us and for the rest of the folks who are attending. So I'm going to put the chance to win link one more time in the chat. So this is the last call. If you haven't yet filled this out, please go ahead and do so now. I'll be starting the spin and win wheel in just a moment here. And while we are finishing with that wrap up, I'm going to also add the links to get back to our virtual booth, the event page itself, the t-shirt request page if you haven't yet requested your free t-shirt, and the bookshelf in case you are interested in reviewing any other materials.